Hi, nobodies. So, as you can see, I have just been in the think tank. And while I was in the think tank, I was considering life, as I often do. And okay, the main reason I am doing this vlog is to talk about books and covers. But before I go into that, I want to talk to you about my afternoon. Now, today was a particularly nice day, and it being a particularly nice day, and me having a great conversation with someone and an awesome visit from my daughter, and the weather was beautiful and the cats got to be out on the catio, and I'm going to post a video later of my cats because this is my life. So I find myself towards that time when I'm a little bitchy, just a little more like a passive aggressive type of bitchy. So this afternoon I was bored and I got on Plenty of Fish just to like check it out. And really found it lacking in mental stimulation, of course. Like when I go through there, I always feel bad, like if I hit the X, I'm like, I'm judging this person and possibly unfairly. But there's like something I'm looking for. Like even if like see a lot of girls will sit there and go, "Ooh, he's hot." I'm looking at him and going, "I don't know. Probably too hot for me, X." Or, "Ooh, he's got a nice body, X." you know, and I mean, occasionally I will pick people that I'm like, okay, like he's a 10 and I'm not even a 5, but he seems nice. So I'll hit the heart, you know, who knows? I might get a friend out of the whole deal. So I mean, like sometimes I'll get these little flashes of, you know, they're probably not going to message me, but I'll give it a shot. So I but I feel bad when I have to hit that X cuz I'm like, you're being so judgy. You should at least read their profile before and I almost always, if I do see something and it's there's just something, a certain quality, anyway, it doesn't really matter. So I got a couple of bites, and so I'm just swapping text back and forth. Nothing sticking out at me. And one of those that I was like, that I hit and was like, he's probably not gonna be into me. He starts messaging me, and at the beginning, nothing was really weird about it until he started wanting to like get my number, and I was like, I don't know. And I started looking back, and I was like, his English isn't spot on. I mean, I kind of caught that his English was a bit off, but I was like, well, maybe he's going really fast or whatever. So I kind of called him out on it, being that I'm in a teensy bit bitchy mood. I was like, hey, I don't feel comfortable giving out my phone number, as I don't really know you. You only have one profile pic. And you know, your town is not an actual town, it's a state. And I'm like, and your phone number is not right. And I didn't come right out and say, and you're kind of good looking, so I would think that there would be more pictures of you because you're not most of the time. Guys that look like him would have a bunch of pictures, and I normally do not hit heart on those. Normally do not, but the profile was kind of interesting. And and the more I called him out on it, the worse his English got. And I was like, yeah, I'm not buying it. So I was like, bye. To quote my daughter, bye. Um, the other person that really got to texting me, they were like, do you want to have some fun? And I was like, we talking putt putt or the kind of fun that I'm not looking for on here? You know, like, I'm like, what kind of, like, elaborate? You know, and I let him know that I wasn't wanting to hook up. You know, that I'm like, hey, I don't know you, and I'm not looking for that right now. And he says, he's like, but you need me. And I was like, elaborate. You know, like, okay, this guy did not ask me anything about myself. Talked about himself. And he's like, you need me. So while I was waiting on him to tell me what that meant, and my mind was coming up with all kinds of smart ass things, because I knew what he was going to say. So while I was thinking about that, I decided to take care of the things he was going to tell me I need him for. And sure enough, 30 minutes later, when I looked at the text, he was like, you need me to make you feel good. And I'm like, I feel fine. I feel fantastic. You know, and I was like, and I said that. I was like, I feel fine. I feel fantastic. And he's like, but, you know, he's like, it's like, you need me to get you off. And I was like, no, I just did that myself. And frankly, I don't think you're up to snuff. Because, like I said, a little bitchy today. So, and then he went on to tell me what he would do for me. And I was like, yeah, whatever. I can do that myself. I mean, well, I can't. Okay, I can't do all of that myself, but I can get the end result without having to do anything for anybody else. It's all about me. So he got the bye, because I was like, you know, it's tacky. It is just tacky. You're gonna sit there and build yourself up. And this is how I got to thinking about the book and the think tank. You're gonna build yourself up as this god of the bedroom, you know, and then you are so gonna disappoint me because I am not feeling you on a mental level. So there is nothing you're gonna be able to do for me sexually because I'm not gonna be there. Mentally, I'm going to be reading a book, playing chess games. You know, I'm not gonna fucking be there because I go away. That's just, I don't have, you know, like, it's just sex and I might be there for it, but you're not gonna do anything for me because my mind is not connected to what's going on because my mind is not connected to you. So, like, I'm like, don't even waste my time with having to read all the things you say you can do because I have read that book cover before, buddy. And you know what? That's how we segue into that. Books. Gotta love books. And they always say don't judge a book by its cover. Well, I found that a lot of really good books have really neat jackets. You know, they draw you in with the picture. You know, now I mean, some of the books you read, they're really good and they're just plain looking. You know, Sometimes you pick up a book and you look on the back at the synopsis and you're like, hey, this is pretty interesting. I like the cover. It looks good. I can see myself loving that man on there. He's a hottie. Remember Fabio back in the day? You know, all those Joanna Lindsay books with Fabio on them? Oh my God, I was in love with that man. Not in real life, though. Because in real life, I was like, God, that's a big dude. I don't want all that. Like, no. You know, that's just going to turn to fat. Not that I'm that shallow. You might have a beautiful soul. Anyway, so how sad is it when you see this book and you're looking at it and you're going, okay, that's an interesting cover. It's not the best cover I've ever seen, but it draws the eye to it. It's not hard to look at. So you read the back and you're like, okay, it's a book about vampires. I like vampires. It's kind of like a Lestat thing. I like Lestat. Lestat was cool. Not the Interview with a Vampire Lestat from the movies. The Queen of the Damned Lestat. And the Lestat of the books. So much cooler. So anyway, you're reading and you're like, okay, this seems really interesting. Like you get to where you're like, ooh, I can't wait to get home and read this book. You know, I've got to buy it. I have to read this book. Have to. You get home, you open it up. And it's about sports. And you're like, I don't like sports. I don't want to read about sports. That's kind of boring. But maybe it'll get better. You're halfway through the book. And you're like, oh my God, this is painful to read, but it's gonna get good. It's got to. The cover told me this is gonna be a good book. So I'm like, I've got to read this, you know? You're like, maybe it's like one of those movies where it just kind of drags on and then like the last 30 minutes are kick-ass. So you keep reading. You finish the fucking book and you're like, the fuck? Did somebody put the wrong jacket on this fucking book? Did I buy the wrong book? So you look in the book and you're looking at it and you're like, fuck no, they just fucking lied to me. This book and this jacket do not go together. Because the book is shit. And the jacket promised me a tale that I would enjoy. So disappointed. Now, sometimes you pick up a rather ordinary looking book. And from the moment you read the first words, you can't put it down. And if you have to put it down, like say you're just so tired you cannot read anymore, you go to sleep, you dream about the book, you wake up and you just have to pick it up again. I mean, you'll call in sick to work because you have to finish reading the book. It's that fucking important. It's that fucking good that you have to finish it. And you finish it and then you're like, I need another book. I need more of this book. This book cannot be over. There's more. I shall read it again. You know, and again and again. In all honesty, I can't think of a single book. No, wait. I can think of one book that I read twice. Which is not even the best book I've read. Read it when I was 13. Read it when I was 21 or so. Not as good the second time I read it. It was Comes the Blind Fury by John Saul. Only book I've read twice. The rest of them, I just know them so well because they were that fucking good. You know? But people are much the same way. I mean, now it depends on what you're looking for. Now, what one person sees as interesting, another person doesn't see as interesting. You know, and when I look at people, that thing that I see is not necessarily the overall thing. It's, there's something that I can't put my finger on. Maybe it's the eyes, maybe it's the smile. Maybe there's like an essence I can see of them. I don't know. I don't know if people have essences and stuff that can be seen. I mean, I don't know. I'd like to believe that. But then again, it's like, why does nobody talk to me? Because I try to put out this essence of, come talk to me. I'm very friendly. I'm very nice. I'll be your best friend. You won't be able to kick me loose. And I'll give you space too. I don't expect much. I'm an easy pet. I'm like a cat. You just feed me every once in a while and I'm good. You come by, I'll pay attention to you. And sometimes you see one and there's just something about it. Maybe it's the name of the book. You just look and you're like, that's an interesting name. Or it's the author. You're like, hey, I like them. I read something else by them. I shall give this one a try. Sometimes it's, but like overall appearance to me is a very shallow reason to like somebody because everything changes. Eyes don't change. The areas around the eyes change. I try to see past that. Oh, he's so pretty. Because pretty fades. That's why anybody who calls me pretty or who says you're so hot, you're so, like, don't. I'm not going to believe those words coming out of your mouth. And everybody says that to other people. They say, you're so pretty, you're so beautiful, you're so this. And it's like, this is something I don't have a lot of control over. This is how I was made. Now, I can put makeup on, I can fix my hair, I can dress up, I can work out, I can get a tan, I can pierce things, which I obviously do. But 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, those things change. You compliment who I am. Like if you really fucking see me because all this skin is not seeing me. That is seeing my book jacket. Which has nothing to do with whether or not you're going to enjoy the book. Has nothing to do with the character. It is just the jacket. I can be a complete piece of shit or I can be a work of art. A complete piece of shit will always be a piece of shit. And a work of art will always be a work of art, regardless of whether that jacket looks good or if you lose the jacket and you're just left with a plain black book. It's the same. It is the same story. The same lesson. And granted, you do want to be able to look at somebody who you love. But from someone who, I'm not gonna name names, but there was a person in my life a long time ago that every morning I would wake up. He was on my delivery route, and I had stopped delivering pizzas, but I couldn't get this guy out of my head. There was something about him that just, I was like, I like him. I don't know why, but I'm like drawn to him. And eventually I talked to one of my friends that was a delivery driver, and I was like, hey, if you get this address to deliver, I want you to come talk to me. If this name pops up. So one day it did, and he had to go deliver, and I was like, hey, invite that guy back here for a beer. Ask him if he remembers me, and I was like, this is pretty safe, because if the dude never comes in, you know, I wasn't standing in front of him hitting on him, you know, and I'm gonna say back then I was kind of fucking hot. So, not to be conceited, but dude was fucking lucky. Anyway, I guess like 3 days went by of me like going, is he gonna come in tonight? Is he gonna come in tonight for that beer? And when he finally came in, my initial reaction was, that's the fucking guy? You. Ah. And it always took me a second to see that that spark. That spark of, oh yeah, that's why I love you. And I mean, this happened every fucking morning. I'd wake up, I'd roll over and like I would be like, ah, oh yeah, I love you. And the rest of the day, he would be like the most beautiful guy on the planet. I wouldn't even look at another fucking dude the rest of the fucking day. And I still don't know what that quality was. I have no clue. I mean, but it's like I saw it every time I was around him. I was lit. Like, it was really great. And my first husband, met him once. And let me tell you, my first husband was not a bad looking guy. Certainly better looking than this guy was. And we met him at a Blockbuster. This tells you how long ago it was. We were at Blockbuster. And I was like, oh, hey. And the second I saw him, like, my husband disappeared. He wasn't my husband at the time. And he just, like, disappeared in my head. I couldn't even look at him because I was completely focused on this guy. He ended things and sent me spiraling pretty bad. And, you know, he was probably the only guy. Like, there have been some people who have dumped me that I've been like, how dare he? Fat fucker with a little dick. Why am I upset? You know, like why? You know, and that kind of thinking never applied to him. I never thought, you know, I never sat there and picked him apart in my head of why am I upset? It was like, there goes my soul. You know, there goes the guy. Well, after we met him at Blockbuster, you know, we were going back home, and he's like, and the dude I was with was like, what kind of a fucking fool is he? She's like, you're a solid 10 and he's a 2. And I was like, he's totally fucking awesome. That's why. And so if you knew him, you'd know. Because I mean, this guy, like, people gravitated towards him. He was just so fucking cool. And not in a audacious way. He was just, he just like lit everybody up. And it's hard to talk about him because he's dead, but I never once picked him apart in my head as to like even to this day, you know, I'll say like every morning I'd wake up and just be like, you know, for like a split second. But to this day, I can't say why he wasn't attractive. Like, what about him wasn't attractive? Because he was beautiful. You know, I mean, did he have a perfect body? Fuck no. You know, he was average in every way. You know, had a little bit of a gut on him. You know, and that's why I say, you know, like being in love with this skin is so fucking shallow. Because if you don't look past that, you never get to know somebody as beautiful as this person was to me. It's really tough I haven't thought about him in a minute. I should have, because he was important. And I was really upset with the boyfriend at that time for talking bad about him, because I was like, hey, he's a fucking awesome dude. You know not what you speak of. I had the opportunity to go back, and I didn't. And that is probably one of my biggest regrets. That I was so afraid that whatever it was that caused him to dump me, he'd remember. And I'd just get hurt again. And I didn't want to be hurt like that again. So, if you find somebody mildly amusing, take the time to read the book. Because sometimes you'll find that it's your favorite. And don't be swayed by that interesting looking cover, thinking, you know, it's going to be the best thing ever. Because it might not be. It might just be a book of shit. But by all means, attempt to read it. I mean, don't judge a book by its cover. Don't judge it by its synopsis either, because it might seem interesting and be completely devoid of any knowledge. Or it can be the best thing you've ever read, even though it doesn't seem interesting, because I don't like sports, but I've seen some pretty good sports movies. So, you gotta give some things a chance, even if you think that it's not worth it. Because I am so glad that I didn't get caught up on the little shit, the little imperfections, whatever they might have been, because I honestly can't tell you what it was I didn't like when I first woke up, or would first see him after being away from him. But it would fade. It didn't exist. It still doesn't exist. So I'm going to go now. It's been a great day. And I know that tonight's going to be good. Tomorrow's going to be good. It's all going to be good. Because I'm going to make it so. And I hope that you've had a good day. I hope everybody has a good day, because I want everybody to be happy, because happy people are nice people, and nice people are not assholes. We like a world without assholes, which I gotta say, this quarantine thing is working out pretty good for Mother Earth in some places now, isn't it? Families getting back together. Some of them splitting apart. Sorry, I should not laugh about that. Goes to show how busy folks are. So, if your day was not great, just remember that every moment is an opportunity to turn it around. And if, I have done this on many occasions, it is possible if you believe it. You just have to push it sometimes. Sometimes you really have to push it. You have to get yourself past the whole positive thinking ain't gonna change shit. Fucking will. Not every day is sunny for me. But most days, If I've got a sunny attitude, they're not as shitty as they would be with a negative attitude. So just try it and see what comes your way. And you can't just do it for 5 minutes. It's got to be like a good day or 2 days or 3 days, depending on how shitty your life is or how chaotic. But eventually, that positive attitude brings positive things your way. It's been proven. Ask anybody who's had a lot of good stuff happen to them. Are they in a shit mood? No, they were happy before good things started happening. You ask somebody who's miserable how long they've been miserable and how long bad shit's been happening to them, probably as long as they've been miserable. It just keeps piling up. It's like a magnet. Bad penny. It's a bad penny that keeps turning up. So you have to be sure that your magnetic pole is not set to attract the bad penny. Not that pennies are attracted to magnets, because they're not, I don't think. The pennies were made of iron. Anyway, I better go now. I'm lost. Have a good night. Bye.